Okay, here we go. A story, well-known story, Baal Shem Tov, the first Baal Shem Tov story that I ever heard. I was invited to speak. A bunch of children. This must have been, 40 years ago at least. And I didn't know how to speak to children, so I brought a good friend of mine called Yitzchak Lieberman, that he needs a refuah shlema, Yitzchak Dov Ben Esther. And he's very ill now. But anyway, back then he wasn't. And he told this story about the Baal Shem Tov, and the children were hypnotized, and so was I. It's a well-known story, but I want to tell it again in his merit. This was in the times of, it was a pogrom. It was a regular thing in Russia and in Ukraine, whatever, Russia and the Ukraine, that because the kings were so bad, I guess the Ukraine was part of Russia in those days. So the Tsar was so bad, and the situation was so bad that he would blame the Jews. And when he would blame the Jews, so everybody would take out their anger on the Jews and figure if we get rid of the Jews, they used to have even a saying, spill Jewish blood, save Russia. It was a saying, anyway. So the Ukrainians who are like, they're active anti-Semites, even maybe more than any other nation, I don't know. But anyway, they're like active anti-Semites, even though that the whole Chassidic movement grew up in Ukraine. That's where it all was, all these places are in Ukraine, basically. Anyway, so there was a couple that they had to run away from the non-Jews, the Cossacks, the non-Jews, whatever it was, who were making this pogrom, killing Jews. So they ran away, and they realized, and they had a little baby, and they realized that they couldn't carry the baby with them or provide for the baby. It was going to be cold. So in order to save the baby's life, they wrapped it up in blankets, whatever, and put it in a basket and put it in front of a house of these non-Jews. They didn't know who the people were. They had no idea, but they knew that carrying the baby with them was sure death for the child. So and they ran away. And these people, who knows what happened to the couple? Maybe they were caught, maybe they were killed. And anyways, they didn't come back. So the next morning, the guy, whoever has their thing open, please close it. Somebody has their, do your closing thing. Okay, mute. Here is it. Menachem. Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. So the old non-Jewish couple wake up in the morning. They see they see a basket, and there's a sound coming from it, like a cat or something. They don't know what it is. They open it up, a baby, and they grow the child up, and it's a boy, a baby boy. They grow him. They raise him, and they treat him like their own. And there was a little note, I guess, that the mother had written. My son is a Jew. Please raise him as a Jew, and then that's it. So, and according to one opinion, there was a pair of tefillin there. I don't know. The story is told in many different ways. So they bring him up. They bring the child up, and he's a strong, beautiful, intelligent. He's their pride and joy, and they tell him that he's their son, and he understands that he's their son. So one day, the father decides he's going to take him as a present into town. I'm going to show him the town. He's never been in the town, so they go in the town. And then they see things that show he's always been, lived in the forest. His father was a wood chopper or whatever. And goes in the town, and he sees all these people with wagons, with stores, with windows, with merchandise and amazing things. And suddenly he sees a Jew. It happens to be that it's Rosh Hashanah, and this Jew is going to show. All the Jews are going. And the boy asks the father, here's a person that's different from everybody else. What's that? The father says, oh, that's one of the Jews. They're, rejected people. God despises them. He left them, but they're still holding on. He says, what do they do? Why is he going? Why has he got a beard? Where is he running to? And the father said, listen, let's talk about something else. He says, no, I'm very interested. I want to know, what is the Jews? Why did God reject them? Why did it? So let's just forget about it. Let's just look at that building. Look at that. The son said, no, I want to know, what were they rejected for? What did they do? Why are they still believing in what they do? If they were rejected, what's going on? The father says, listen, please talk about something else. I don't want to talk about this. And the child doesn't. He can't talk about it. So the father says, okay. So he takes him back home, and he tells his wife, He wrecked the whole thing up. He saw a Jew, and all he's talking about is these Jews, the Jews. I don't know what's going on with it. He went crazy. Anyway, the child asks his mother. His mother doesn't want to tell him either. And he starts to become sick. He doesn't want to eat. He becomes depressed. And doesn't eat for a couple of days. He's getting thin, doesn't sleep. So finally, his mother takes him one night. She says, listen, she wakes up in the 3 in the morning, hears there's her son sitting there crying. He said, listen, I want you to know something. See this little note I got? You're adopted. You're not really our son, but we love you very much. We brought you up. And we want you to stay with us. And you're a Jew. You're one of those people. But, that you're with us is your good luck. You're not with those people, those despised people. And so the boy says, okay, good. Anyway, the mother goes back to sleep. The boy takes a loaf of bread, whatever, and he leaves home, writes a little note, thank you very much, and he leaves, runs to town, and it happens to be that from the time when he saw until now, they're past like the 7 days, it's Yom Kippur. Now it's Yom Kippur. And the child doesn't know anything. He's going in the town, and he sees there's Jews, gets there early in the morning, he sees that there's Jews, and they're going quickly, so he follows them. He follows after them, and they go into the shul, to the synagogue, and they're starting to pray. They're all praying, and he sits there for a while, and he sees they're all holding the books, and they're all praying, and everybody tries to sort of not notice him, and everybody's also thinking about themselves. And suddenly he sees everybody's crying out to God, and they're all praying, and they're in the synagogue. And it happens to be that it's the Baal Shem Tov synagogue. It's the Baal Shem Tov synagogue. So they're all praying in this, and so he hears everyone's, crying, and they're all praying. And they're all holding these prayer books, so he doesn't know. So now there's different versions about what happens, but I'm telling you the version that I heard. So he says, listen, I got to do something for God. These people are all praying to God. I realize that's what they're doing. My mother told me that they're, God rejected them and everything, but they're praying out to God. And I'm one of them. And, I want to call out to God also. I want to pray to God, but I don't want to read. I don't know how to do anything. He says, but one thing I do know how to do, I can imitate a rooster. I'm really good at imitating a rooster. My mother sometimes even asks me to. I do it so good. That's what I'm going to do. So he stands in the middle, and they're all praying. They're all calling out to God. Kaddish, Kaddish, maybe it's Kaddish or something like that. And all of a sudden he lets out this crow. I love you, God. I love you. So everybody turns around and they look. They see this non-Jewish kid. And he's, screaming out in the middle. So everybody wants to evict him. What are you doing? What's going on over here? So the Baal Shem Tov turns around and he makes a motion to everybody to bring him. So they bring the child to the Baal Shem Tov, and he stands. The Baal Shem Tov takes him under his talus, and he stands there and he prays with the Baal Shem Tov. Maybe he repeats word after word what the Baal Shem Tov says. I don't know. Anyway, it's none of the. After the prayers, the morning prayers, so the Baal Shem Tov turns to everybody at the first opportunity when they can speak after the repetition of the Shemona Esrei, whatever. So Baal Shem Tov turns around and he tells everyone that I want you to know, he said, that there was a terrible decree on this community. And there was supposed to be terrible pogroms and destruction here. And I prayed, didn't help. And your prayers didn't help. Nothing helped. And this scream from this child that came from the essence of his heart, that helped. And that broke the decree. God heard a genuine scream of a Jewish heart to the essence of the Creator, beyond all understanding, and that's what saved the Jewish people. That's what saved us. And that's the story of Yom Kippur. Now, I want to add something onto the story. That he screamed out to God very good. But next year, that trick would not have worked. The next year, because he revealed his essence to God. So now he has to sit and learn Torah. He has to bring, like it says, betene. He has to bring it into a basket. You have to bring this feeling of godliness, this ratzon, like the Baal Shem Tov was saying, we just finished learning. You have to bring it into vessels so that it can be used in the world. And it was not to lose the enthusiasm, the crazy unity that we have, excitement to be attached to the creator of the universe, but at the same time, to do what the creator of the universe wants, to be a creator, that we have to be in the world and make the world a better place. And that's the message of Yom Kippur, the high priest would go into the Holy of Holies and he would come out and bless the people. So we have to bring the essence, holiness of God into the physical world. Not an easy job, but that's what the Rebbes of Chabad succeeded in doing with the teachings of Chassidut. The problem is that they can't do it for us. We have to take these teachings and actually do it in the world to make this world a good place, a happy place, a better place with the Mashiach, the Rebbe, Melech HaMashiach, now. Okay, see you tomorrow, 8:15. Two stories. Story. One story for the Alter Rebbe, one story for the Baal Shem. Shalom.
Shofar.
I see what you're saying. Okay, I'll go off the line.